We are back live. Lionel from Lionel Media is our guest. He's a lawyer, former prosecutor, and his Twitter is Twitter at Lionel Media, lionelmedia.com. I should also add that we have the new app out. It's just phase one. It's got video feeds, audio feeds, and news feeds. It's got a modern format. That's just the first rollout. We're going to add a bunch of other features by election. I mean, a lot of this stuff's almost done to the app, Infowars.com/app to get that. And please send that link to your friends and family. We have the original app that over 1 million people have downloaded. That is an Apple app. A lot of other folks have made Droid knockoffs, which is fine. But there's only 2 apps that we have. They're both free. And that's the Infowars live app that's new on both Droid and on Apple. And it's free at Infowars.com/app. They'll take you to the links. And then we have another radio one that has a news feed and is just audio that works really well. It's almost 6 years old. And you can find that at the Apple Store as well, or links to it on Infowars.com. Lionel, this is a short segment, long segment coming up. I want to get into some other news here, but let me just ask you, what do you really think happened with the debate? Do you think he won, draw? And what would you do in the next debate if you were Donald Trump?
Okay, good. First of all, he lost the debate. I don't know where he was. I don't know what he was thinking. Couple of things. You got Alex. This woman was on death's door. I don't know what the hell she's taking, but that should be the best neurological drug. Whatever it was, she didn't take a sip of water. She was bouncing around. I don't know what it was, but whatever she's taking, I want more of it. Here's what he needed to do. Number one, you got to understand something. That Lester Holt is a shill. He's a sock puppet. Everybody knew this. I knew this. He's got to go out and write down the following. Mr. Trump, you've got 5 things to say, 10 things to say, and what you do, and by the way, whenever you go on any TV show, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. You're going to say what you want to say, irrespective of what they ask you. And if they don't ask you, say, you know, it's funny, that reminds me. And then you go right into it.
Absolutely.
He never even talked about immigration. The thing that brought him to the dance, he never even talked about. Number 2, he's got to understand that he has a plan. When he won the American, and I'm not endorsing him, but when he beat soundly Alex, 16 of the best and the brightest of the Republican Party, coming to senators, governors, including a brain surgeon, an actual brain surgeon. He didn't go out there slamming Hillary Clinton. He gave them a vision, and he talked about basically a couple of things: illegal immigration and the sense of crime and losing, not being able to feel.
Yeah, America's going to win again. She's the loser. I'm the winner. I'm the future. She's the best.
And what he needed to do was to go after. Say these 4 things, however.
Well, I know what happened. He was told by a bunch of media advisors, and I think even Roger Ailes, that it's all about how you look, and you're going after the 20% that's undecided, and you want to look nice, and you want to look friendly, and you don't want to be the stereotype they claim you've been. You're not going to get those people anyway. You need to go out and destroy Hillary Clinton.
You've got to look, he's got to look at Hillary Clinton like somebody does in a bad family intervention. When you've got a spouse or a loved one who's yapping about you, and I don't have experience.
I would have said,
but
go ahead, sorry.
No, but you have to look at her like say, okay. There was a debate years ago where Daniel Patrick Moynihan ran for Senate against a woman named Bernadette Castro here in New York. Now, Daniel Patrick Moynihan was a bona fide genius. Alex, he never even looked at her the whole time, never even acknowledged her. He said the following. Now, here's the thing that she has to do. There are a couple of things. Number one, when Hillary Clinton talks about taxes, when Hillary Clinton brings that up, what they do is that's their wedge. And people who are not, remember, nobody is for Hillary. They're against Trump.
Exactly. Stay there. Let's talk more about what you do. I totally agree with you, Lionel. We'll try to take this video, maybe send it to Trump, because he just could have destroyed her. When she said, oh, you ripped off an architect. Oh, really? Was that ever found in court? No, it wasn't. You're a liar. By the way, you stole the china and then said you didn't have it and had to give it back months later. It was worth $1 million. You are a thief. You are a Chinese spy. Only 38 days left. You know, Lionel was a prosecutor. He's a constitutional lawyer, TV host, radio host. And he was pointing out that his minor was in psychology. He's a smart guy. And I think we're similar in a lot of ways because I was saying this at the start of the show. This election is really getting to me. I mean, I've been doing this 21 years, and I'm getting freaked out because if I lived in a community and, you know, there were neighbors just eating their fingers or there were suddenly people, you know, just jumping off bridges, which is actually happening. Mental illness is just exploding. Insanity. I mean, that's all the metrics show it. And it's because the social engineers that are running things are crazy. And if you studied psychology, you learn that the highest level of mental illness is in psychologists and psychiatrists. Now, I'm not saying there aren't some great ones. I'm not saying there isn't a lot of truth to what they say. Some of them do wonderful things. Some of them work for centralized systems and do horrible things and work for big corporations to, you know, deceive the public. But it fundamentally does something to me because I'm beyond hating Hillary Clinton. to see this weird, out-of-control person that looks like she's wearing a plastic Joker mask and to know all the crimes she's committed, and then to sit there and see her go, Donald Trump didn't pay an architect all the money he said he would. I went and looked up the case. Yeah, the guy tried to charge a lot more. Trump stood up for himself. But the point is this is his big crime, not turning ISIS loose to kill hundreds of thousands in Syria, not all the sellout deals of this country. I mean, Hillary is horrible. Folks, I criticize the Bushes because one of their foundations kept half the money from Haiti, and they used it to start some other charities. And the Bushes, I mean, I thought were villains, and they're friends with Hillary, so it just shows birds of a feather fly together. Even the Washington Post had to admit that Hillary, we can pull this up, gave 1 year, it was like 4.6%, the other 5.7% of the money that was raised for Haiti. They just kept 90+% for themselves right off the top. We're not saying only 5% actually got to little kids. We're saying the total, the foundation, just in general, only 5%. And then you learn that 97%, you can just type this into Google, it's mainstream news, 97% of the Clinton Foundation, that was 1 year, another year it was 98, another year it was 96, went to themselves. They give the money to themselves, and when they do a charitable donation, it's then again to themselves to get out of taxes. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is organized crime. This is fraud. This is money laundering. This is admitted. And Lionel was a prosecutor that dealt with this. He's a constitutional lawyer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I run a business. I run an operation. I know about the laws, okay? I study things. I've talked to experts. This is so flagrant that she's above the law. The question is then, in law, what happens now that Comey has totally discredited himself? What happens when they admit, okay, we basically give the equivalent of pardons? That's what these immunities are. I don't think you can really do that. I mean, this is bizarre because this isn't to get the capo above them. This is so they can get out of trouble because they got caught lying. And then they just meet on airplanes with Bill Clinton, Loretta Lynch. They don't care. They're so full of hubris. But it seems like they're bipolar. They're like full of hubris and and the next minute they're super scared, running around like chickens with their heads cut off. This all goes back to psychology. Let's cover this now, just the state of the lawlessness, Lionel, because you're a former prosecutor. And then let's get back into what Trump should do. I mean, he shouldn't be vicious. He shouldn't be spitting at her. But, I mean, I would say what you said. This is a joke. I mean, this is ridiculous. You're accusing me of fraud when I have no history of fraud. And then you are this crime boss, woman. I mean, go ahead.
Well, that is a crime. Well, see, stop for a second. Again, the problem that I have is because it is so overwhelming. You have to, the very fact that I have to even explain this, the fact that nobody's rioting in the streets, goes to show you how detached this country is. Alex, here is the difference. I don't care whether an organization, whether it be the Red Cross, the United Way, the Clinton Foundation, or Al Sharpton's National Action Network, we know how that works. That's not the issue. The issue is simply this. When you are the Secretary of State and you can't say, give me the money, pay me the money, and I'll give you most favored nation status or arms or whatever, you can't do that. What she did was, I'll tell you what, pay the Clinton Foundation. That's the connection. That's the nexus. Alex, this is an existential life or death, death dance, if you will, for the Clintons, because if Hillary loses this, Chelsea goes bye-bye, Bill Clinton goes bye-bye, and the Clinton Crime Initiative, again, that makes the Gambino crime family look like the Junior League. They go away because you're using the office of the Secretary of State. That is the issue. Now,
well, I mean, let's go further. They lied to Congress. We have all the clips. It's been confirmed that they are getting massive money. Hillary says, I get no money from the foundation. The jets, the cars, the homes, the meals, everything is on it. They've got the global initiative, too. And then Chelsea gets $6+ million a year. Then the foundation pays for her $10 million penthouse.
Alex, I still say that's not even the... I don't even care about that.
No, I got it. You cannot be the Secretary of State and then take money to then give access to the Chinese president. By the way, I wasn't thinking big enough. I thought she was just selling out U.S. interests because we knew that. I didn't realize she's like selling out Chinese interest to other people and representing...
My friend, my dear, and I'm proud to say this, and I say it proudly, my dear friend, from the time I met you and I introduced you, and for the first, I remember hearing you for the first time. And I say that again. I'm proud to say you're my friend. But my friend...
No, you're right. I have a blind spot. I don't think they're so criminal.
What we're talking about here is something that, and I started off by asking you this question. If Hillary Clinton was bound by an ideology that had nothing to do with lining her own pockets, it had nothing to do with, you know, this craven, venal, naked.
No, you get it. She's a total sociopath that's so white trash, she steals China.
But aside from that, low rent. She is the person. Look, Bill Clinton never had that desire for
I mean,
money.
I would just be honored to eat off the stuff that George Washington had. I mean, these people are just, oh, man.
Well, let me go back to going back, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, but that's my nature. Now, going back to the debate, I would teach Donald Trump like a kata, whether you do Krav Maga or any kind of martial arts. When they do this, you do this. When she brings up, or anybody brings up bankruptcy, you can say, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. By the way, that's a great tactic. Whenever you tell your opponent, I'm glad you brought that up, that's not good.
No, I'd say, oh, wonderful. I'm glad you brought up corruption. That's all made up. You're the one sold us out to the Communist Chinese. Right. You're the one stole the China. You're the one that has the foundation. What about,
Better yet, hey, kids, let's talk about this thing called bankruptcies, okay? Because, you know, it's funny you say that. And I want to talk to you, all you millennials, by the way, who were hosed by Bernie Sanders, who aren't necessarily going to vote for Hillary Clinton out of default, but who have been completely abandoned by this corrupt and venal system. I want to talk to you about this thing called Whitewater. Once upon a time, there was something so big that the governor of Arkansas went to prison, and people were indicted. This makes you talk about Atlantic City, where the city went bankrupt, where we have casinos and Revel and Wynn and this. You're talking about, I have 400 corporations, 5 went bankrupt. Let's look at Mitt Romney's. Folks, bankruptcy is not the issue. Now, when she brings up Trump University, pray to God she brings it up. Say, I'm glad you brought that up. I want to talk about something called Laureate, and how Laureate was just absolutely ignored or not known by the mainstream media. Never ceases to amaze me how they do that. When you talk about, and this is what's interesting, when you talk about how he's fat shaming in 90, whatever, some type of a beauty pageant contestant, I want to talk about sexual predation, not a Lothario, not somebody who's a skirt chaser, not somebody, but somebody who is a sexual predator. Now, remember, Bill Cosby, when people said, you know, that happened a long time ago, who cares? It doesn't matter. Yeah, but, you know, that was 40 years ago. It doesn't matter. Nobody blamed Bill Cosby's wife. They're looking at Hillary as the innocent spouse. What people and young people and women and feminists who worry about fat shaming have to understand.
No, this is about raping women worse than Bill Cosby, and she was the cover. She was the beard for his rapes. Lionel, stay right there, my friend. We're going to come right back to you on the other side. Please don't forget, we have our new probiotic out, and it also helps fund our operation. It is Biome Defense, the very best out there, folks. Do your own research. It's very, very affordable. Comparable systems cost a lot more. Check it out today, InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. I want to thank you all for your support, your Hillary for President shirts as well, at InfoWarsStore.com. Now, solutions from science, Summer Solar Sale. Their website is summersolarSale.com. They've extended it, but it is about to end. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find amazing solar generators and control panels, the very latest, best technologies, the best prices, wind turbines, EMP bags, smart LED light bulbs. Give them a call, 877-327-0365. Or Summer Solar Sale, that's one word, summersolar.com. That's 877-327-0365. They've been a sponsor of ours, I don't know, 14, 15 years, and it's great to have them back on the air with us. Solutions from science, summersolarSale.com, 877-327-0365. Amazing systems, great folks. Check them out, summersolarSale.com. And you're not just getting great products at great prices, it's funding this operation. Now, we've talked about how crazy and how bad and how evil these people are. Let's talk about, when we come back, what'll happen if this crime boss becomes president, or also how we can still stop her. It was Nietzsche that said that don't stare too long into the abyss, you might become the abyss. And so good things are happening. Nationalism is rising. For a portion of the public that is waking up, good things are happening. But for folks that aren't waking up, they're just getting further into delusion. And an example of this, Lionel, and then I want to get into where you think the future is going, I mean, just your dead reckoning. I wanted to ask you where you think things are going, but I also wanted to ask you, there's a video that's up on Infowars.com that I haven't gotten to yet. We may play it in the 4th hour, where our reporter went out to the trendy areas of Austin, South Congress, University of Texas, and said, who do you think won the debate? And I found it very curious. They all said, Hillary, because I want her to be president. I'm going to say she won because I want her to win. They didn't say, well, she did this better and did that better, or Trump didn't do this good. They didn't have any information. It was just, he's racist and I want her to be the winner. So what they're saying is they just delusionally look at, say, a white cloud, and if they want it to be purple, they say it's purple, even though it's white. So let's pot his audio up. I mean, what do you call this psychology? I mean, you say you think Trump lost. I get it. He dropped the ball. He could have done a lot better. So you're saying you think he lost because he didn't do what he should have, didn't have a spectacular victory. I think he narrowly won because they so rigged it. People saw that, and I think the polls reflect that. I think the fact that she could stand up, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe she did win. The point is it's.
Well, but look.
But we're not debating that. The point is the delusion. The delusion. What's this delusion where they think, well, I want her to be president, so she won the debate.
Right. Okay, I mean, first of all,
what do you call that?
Okay, it's a Rorschach test. It's a Rorschach test. It is when you think your child is the cutest little thing and the most beautiful, and you are. There's a difference between illusion and hallucination, because an illusion is something that you distort that is there. A hallucination is something that's not there. Now, Trump's second debate performance is going to be much better. Remember, Reagan's first debate was awful. Obama's debate was awful. It's not a debate. What he needs to do is a couple of things.
The number one rule is you don't engage her on the facts, just like I did with Piers Morgan. You totally ignore them. You laugh at them. You say, oh, great. You act confident. You run her over.
When you are bringing a loved one, let's say before a judge, and you're asking a court to involuntarily commit this crazed loved one, you speak deferentially, but without acknowledging her. You almost are dismissive by being over courteous. He has to worry about this as follows. Number one, he has to be himself. Look, Alex, you know and I know that if you've been in the media long enough, somebody always tries to change you. And the reason for your success is you being you. It's not the way I would do it. It's not the way I could do it. It's the way you do it. So he has to do that.
Donald Trump has to be Donald Trump and stop listening to all these establishment Republicans he's got around him.
He also does not have to worry or listen to anything but the individual. And I want him to think about this. You know, you do this very well. When you do radio or podcasting, you always speak into the mic as though you're imagining somebody sitting in front of you. You imagine their face versus broadcasting. And what you do is you look into the camera and you say, America worries about the following. Eleanor Roosevelt said this about FDR, and it's true. Pick three things. Very simple. Reagan said, do you feel better off than you did 4 years ago? I would say, do you feel safer? Do you like where this country is going? Here's what we need to do.
And by the way, this is all no-brainers. It's almost like he's being sabotaged.
Exactly. It's axiomatic. Because believe me, you know, Alex, you and I, this may come as a shock to you, but sometimes I've been accused of being conspiratorial. And as the great Gore Vidal said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy analyst. And sometimes I'm wondering, could it be beyond the realm of Machiavellian artifice and stratagems for him to be some kind of a spoiler? Nah, I want to think about this. I think he's very serious.
I'll tell you this. Trump's for real, or he's the greatest actor in history. But if he starts dropping the ball more at these debates, then I'm going to say that he's taking a dive. But I don't think that's happening. I'm not introducing that, but I will tell you, there's no doubt there are political operatives in there who want the next job and the next job and want to play footsie with the establishment, who are drinking the wrong Kool-Aid. Because
let me tell you something right now, and you look at this. I want to bring you up to speed. You know, Stalin allegedly said, it was a bit hyperbolic, but Stalin supposedly said, you get out the votes or you get the votes, let me count the votes. You know, Palast and others have talked about how there have been classic ways in the past, Alex, to go after, let's say, allegedly, perhaps, poor votes, African-American votes, Latino votes. Well, in this particular case, remember, Hillary is not a Democrat. She's not a progressive. She's not a liberal. For her to win, you've got to steal Republican votes, theoretically, and you don't do that. So what's she going to do? How do you steal the election from the establishment?
You bring in the Homeland Security and the UN Security Force and the EU Security Force, and you, quote, guard the election. But earlier they said there's no such thing as election fraud, but now they're desperately guarding it from the Russians. Roger Stone's coming up with us. Stay there, Lionel. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. You don't let them break your will. Go to Infowars.com/app and download an app that cost us over $200,000 and took us over a year to develop that we're going to be expanding on the next few months with free video and audio and podcast feeds and breaking news and alerts and so much more. Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action. Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war. Pathogens added to the food and water, and to the lining of plastics that destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands, and it starts at InfoWarsLife.com with Anthroplex. We are back live. Lionel from Lionel Media is our guest. He's a lawyer, former prosecutor, and his Twitter is Twitter at Lionel Media, LionelMedia.com. I should also add that we have the new app out. It's just phase one. It's got video feeds, audio feeds, and news feeds. It's got a modern format. That's just the first rollout. We're going to add a bunch of other features by election. I mean, a lot of this stuff's almost done to the app, Infowars.com/app to get that. And please send that link to your friends and family. We have the original app that over 1 million people have downloaded. That is an Apple app. A lot of other folks have made Droid knockoffs, which is fine. But there's only 2 apps that we have. They're both free. And that's the Infowars live app that's new on both Droid and on Apple. And it's free at Infowars.com/app. It'll take you to the links. And then we have another radio one that has a news feed and is just audio that works really well. It's almost 6 years old. And you can find that at the Apple Store as well, or links to it on Infowars.com. Lionel, this is a short segment, long segment coming up. I want to get into some other news here, but let me just ask you, what do you really think happened with the debate? Do you think he won, draw? And what would you do in the next debate if you were Donald Trump?
Okay, good. First of all, he lost the debate. I don't know where he was. I don't know what he was thinking. Couple of things. You got Alex. This woman was on death's door. I don't know what the hell she's taking, but that should be the best neurological drug. Whatever it was, she didn't take a sip of water. She was bouncing around. I don't know what it was, but whatever she's taking, I want more of it. Here's what he needed to do. Number one, you got to understand something that Lester Holt is a shill. He's a sock puppet. Everybody knew this. I knew this. He's got to go out and write down the following. Mr. Trump, you've got 5 things to say, 10 things to say, and what you do, and by the way, whenever you go on any TV show, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. You're going to say what you want to say, irrespective of what they ask you. And if they don't ask you, you say, you know, it's funny, that reminds me. And then you go right into it.
Absolutely.
He never even talked about immigration. The thing that brought him to the dance, he never even talked about. Number 2, he's got to understand that he has a plan. When he won the American, and I'm not endorsing him, but when he beat soundly Alex, 16 of the best and the brightest of the Republican Party, coming to senators, governors, including a brain surgeon, an actual brain surgeon. He didn't go out there slamming Hillary Clinton. He gave them a vision, and he talked about basically a couple of things: illegal immigration and the sense of crime and losing, not being able to feel.
Yeah, America's going to win again. She's the loser. I'm the winner. I'm the future. She's the past.
And what he needed to do was to go after. Say these 4 things, however.
Well, I know what happened. He was told by a bunch of media advisors, and I think even Roger Ailes, that it's all about how you look, and you're going to have the 20% that's undecided, and you want to look nice, and you want to look friendly, and you don't want to be the stereotype they claim you've been. You're not going to get those people anyway. You need to go out and destroy Hillary Clinton.
You've got to look. He's got to look.